In 2026, it's expected that income will outpace home price growth. This is really exciting news. I put together this video and talking about some predictions, about 6 of them, gathered together from the experts like Barry Habib, Brian Buffini, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, and Mortgage Bankers Association. And today we're going to talk about those predictions as a whole and what the expectations will look like. 2026 is expected to be a year of gradual home price increases from 1 to 3%. And income will outpace home prices. That means that income is expected to rise 3 to 5% in 2026. This is really exciting news since this has not happened since the Great Recession approximately 12 years ago. So with that being said, it will be a very much more even marketplace. There'll be good inventory in the marketplace. You'll have probably a 90-day supply is the expectation, while you have excellent home buying opportunities and home selling opportunities. The next thought is that interest rates will stay in the low 6s, sometimes dipping into the 5s. However, it'll be very stable. Moving into the spring selling season of 2026, interest rates are expected to be around 6.2%. Last year at this time, they were 6.6%, so about a half a percentage point lower. And as that trend continues and the softness of the market continues, it'll make it a little bit easier for home buyers to enter into the marketplace. With that being said, the baby boomers will continue to move out of the market, and as they do, they'll move in with their kids or move into smaller housing, and those younger families will still struggle in 2026 for affordable housing. So there's still a lot happening with combining families together, and we'll talk a little bit about that in these next points with the different predictions that the experts are saying. All right, prediction number 1 will look like the spring selling season is going to have a lower interest rate than it did in 2025. As I said before, interest rates were 6.6% in 2025. The prediction is that interest rates will be 6.3% or lower, with some dipping into the 5% range for short periods of time. I believe that interest rates will continue to push down into the very low 6s and into the 5 range for a little bit longer periods of time, allowing both refinances to capitalize on that and home purchases. Prediction number 2, as I've already stated, it's expected that wages will outpace home sale prices. This is pretty big since this has not happened since 2008, 9, 10, 11, and 12. And so income will increase faster than housing prices, starting to make it more affordable to own a home again. And this is really, really huge. It will not easily affect or quickly affect our entry-level buyers. It'll take 4 to 5 years for that to reflect. However, it will really start to impact those who are moving laterally or moving up, who already own a home and have some good equity in their homes. And it'll be pretty exciting to watch as new home buyers get back into the market with more affordable housing. Number 3, we are expecting to have a strong spring selling season with homes appreciating by about 3%, which is a very steady, even marketplace. So get ready, real estate agents and home buyers and sellers, because it's going to be a fun 2026. Prediction number 4 seems to contradict a little bit of what I'm saying. It seems that families are moving a little bit more away from the nuclear family to moving together. So that might be parents and kids moving together. It might be friends that are looking for both house purchases and apartments together. And the government is going to be working across partisan lines to really work to make housing affordable, and that will include things like houses that include maybe doing an addition off of your garage or finishing a basement so that it's livable. It might also mean allowing for a cottage on an already existing home for a second home right on that same property. So there'll be some government changes. Also, they're looking to have affordable housing near public transportation, and it's said that they're going to be moving the outskirts of homes, especially in the more rural areas, and encouraging manufactured housing and also apartments in some of those rural communities too, for those that don't want to live so close to public transit or in a big city. So those are some really positive changes that are coming as well. Number 5, more Americans will refinance in 2026, about 30%. Number 1, 20% of Americans have an interest rate of over 6.5%, so they need to bring those interest rates down. Number 2, many Americans on average have $181,000 of equity in their home that's untapped. So they're going to have that ability to tap into that equity for either a refinance or maybe an equity line of credit to be able to do those home modifications and remodels that they're looking to do without having to take an outside personal loan, to be able to tap into that home's equity with an equity line of credit or a second mortgage gives ample ability for that person and that family to be able to do those additions and modifications to their homes so that they can have their loved ones living with them. Number 6 in my reading, I learned with hurricanes and natural disasters such as fires on the rise, people are looking to relocate, especially in lower areas. Maybe the flood zones are heavy, the cost to live in those areas are really high, so they'll move out of those areas and not necessarily to different states, but to different areas within that state. Maybe higher ground, perhaps planned unit developments called PUDs that are newer developments that have taken plans of action to have fire safety areas within their subdivisions, rather than some of these older subdivisions that have taken the responsibility of each builder individually and they haven't done the necessary adjustments for wildfires, for example, or planning for floods. So that is something that is going to be changing too. There'll be some movements within states and within areas because of natural disasters. All right, and finally, AI. You couldn't let me do a video without including AI. So AI will be a positive matchmaker into 2026 and 2027, where people will look to find specialty things. So for example, might look for a certain city or housing, especially if they're looking for specialty housing like a meditation room or a filtration system throughout the house. Maybe they want a cold dipping pool. And so as AI kind of takes hold, conversations will begin with AI on helping that person find the right housing area, city, maybe even some of those houses. And along with that, real estate agents will also be assisted because they will know and understand the right time through AI to tap to that client to help them with the right house based on their needs and their AI searches, and also the right time to approach them when they're ready to make that strike on that house. So AI will come alongside both real estate agents and home buyers to find that particular specialty house that somebody's looking for, and through different conversations with AI will help bring that together. So those are my 7 predictions for 2026, put on by some of the best experts in the industry, and I'm just excited to see a really steady selling season. It's said by Brian Buffini that the markets will return much to a 2019 marketplace, and I had a great year in 2019. The economy as a whole in 2019 was really good before COVID, and so I'm just joyously in high expectations of what the market will bring, and you should be too. Have a wonderful day and week, and we'll talk next week. Thank you.